Hey guys, welcome to my humble YouTube channel where I bring you fanfiction that will brighten your days. Before we start, a subscribe is greatly appreciated, and don't forget to leave a like and ring the bell icon so you won't miss exciting new fanfiction stories. Chapter 5. Third Pav. Chloe stood still in the middle of the road looking at the commotion. As she slowly snaked through the crowd, the bad feeling in her heart increased as she got a clear view on what's happening. She hoped that it wasn't what she thought it was, but alas, all her hopes were dashed as she saw the pink hair flashing. Milim stood there with a smug face, her body still covered by the cloak. She didn't have the hood on. Her twin tail-styled pink hair stood out amongst the crowd. She was surrounded by people pointing weapons at her, all of them wearing the same mask, like the ones she saw on the guards posted by the wall. What is this girl doing? Surrender now, girl. Or in the name of the god Ganesha we are given permission to use force. One of the guy in mask roared. What are you doing, Milim? Please don't cause trouble for sensei. Chloe gritted her teeth. Who? Do you have a death wish? Come on. Let me see what you got. Milim stood there, motioning with her hand, challenging her opponents. Chloe sighed. Didn't she just boast about being patient and level-headed? If a fight broke out she may have to intervene, but the uneasiness from earlier hasn't left her heart. She was lucky the first time that no one really noticed her. But she cannot allow it to happen again, so she put the idea to use her ultimate skill again on hold for the time being. Then what should she do? She cannot leave Milim. Milim probably wouldn't understand, but she and Milim were good friends and she can still remember the memories of her past timeline. It's true that they fought a lot for Sensei's attention, but they were still friends in the end and she cannot stay here and do nothing. She put a hand on her rapier. When the fight starts she will create a distraction and get away with Milim. It's not like she cannot take them all alone or is afraid that Milim will get hurt, but she should be careful towards these worlds that are unknown to them. And they don't know what dangers lie here. She readies her stance, but before anything happens another person stood in front of Milim. Chloe tilted her head in curiosity. There stood a girl almost the same height as Milim. She was a beautiful and petite girl. She had blue eyes and mid-thigh length black hair tied into two twin tails which reached down to her mid-thighs. Her hair is tied with hair accessories that feature blue and white petals along with bell-shaped ornaments. She has a small frame and her attire was a white mini dress with a blue ribbon around her neck and one tied under her breasts around her arms, and a pair of white gloves. And what caught her eyes was aura around her. It was not normal. A goddess, the words came out of her mouth. They were the ones Sensei said to be wary of. But what is Milim doing with her? There were many questions she had. She then noticed the goddess saying something to the guy who seemed to be the captain of the group. Then the goddess took Milim's hand, leading her away from the group. The mob started to disperse. Chloe watched as the two figures until they vanished from her sight. Should she stop them? But she was wary of the goddess. Deciding to collect a little more information, she walked over to the guy in the mask. Can I ask you what that was all about? She asked. The masked man rubbed his chin. That pink-haired girl started a fight with some adventurers from the Soma Familia. Geez, seriously, if they want to fight they should do it in the dungeon. He cursed under his breath. And who was that goddess? He looked to where the commotion previously took place. Oh, that was Goddess Hestia. A new goddess out here in Orario. I had never heard about her Familia before. Seems to be she recruited that girl to her Familia. Why, are you Intra? He turned towards the girl to see she was not there anymore. He quickly scanned his surroundings but he couldn't find the girl. He scratched his head. What is with today? Chloe walked fast to where she could sense Milim's presence. While walking she decided to tell Sensei about the new development. She could see they were heading to a building which looked like an old Western church. She told Sensei about Milim and got instructions to wait. She jumped on top of the building nearby, expanding her magic vision. She watched as both of them entered the building. Milim should have noticed me by now. Then why isn't she making a move? She thought, or does she want it all this way? Then she felt a familiar presence. She looked down to see Sensei and Veldora standing there, and for a brief moment their eyes met. Then, before she knew it, both of them were beside her. Instant teleportation. A perfected one that only one person that she knew who is capable of it is. You, Chloe. Are you okay? A smile crept on her face. No matter how much she heard it, she could never get tired of his voice. Yes, I'm okay. Rimuru Pav. I noticed Chloe on top of the building looking down at us, and she knows what she's doing. I looked at her as she nodded at a building near which seemed to be where Milim is. She seemed to be on guard. Did something happen? Well, only one way to know. Hold on, I warned Veldora, then grabbed him, teleported to Chloe's position. You Chloe, are you okay? Yes, I'm okay. She replied with a smile, then she explained what happened. After a few minutes so the guy tried to recruit you. Yes, he said he was a member of Apollo Familia. Apollo and Hestia, huh? There are many familiar names in this world. Are they the same gods from our world, sensei? Chloe asked. Seems like she had the same thought as me. There is no way of knowing now. Let's wait and see. Hey you two. Can we get Milim back now? I am getting pretty bored with just watching from here. Veldora said, yawning. What the heck are you saying? Didn't Chloe just say the gods are dangerous? And what the hell is with the yawning? You are a true dragon, you don't need to sleep. Is what I want to say, but for now, but I didn't. Seal, what do you think? Making contact is the best option. I sighed. Why do I have to clean up after you, Milim? Well then let's move out. I am going to teleport inside to the church. And be on guard and avoid a conflict as much as possible. I warned both of them, in which I got an affirmative nod. 3, 2, 1, telephone. 3, 2, 1, now. I teleported into the room. Despite what I said to avoid the fight, I myself had my hand on my sword hilt just in case. And there sat Milim. In front of her she had a plate of buns, and opposite her sat a beautiful and petite girl. She had blue eyes and mid-thigh length black hair tied into two twin tails which reached down to her mid-thighs. Her hair is tied with hair accessories that feature blue and white petals along with bell-shaped ornaments. She has a small frame which is wrapped in a white mini-dress with a blue ribbon around her neck and one tied under her breasts around her arms. Oh Rimuru, welcome home. Milim said in a cheerful tone, looking at me. I am back, I blurted out. Wait, who's home exactly? A few hours ago Milim walked aimlessly. She had already freed her head from the cloak. Her twin ponytails were freely swinging in the air. She doesn't have a destination nor a plan, she doesn't even know what to do, but moreover she is angry and things aren't gonna be nice when the demon lord Milim is angry. Damn that Rimuru. How can he give up the sweets? She cursed under her breath. Not only did he do that, but he also asked her to do jobs. How could he do that? I am the destroyer Milim Nava, you know. She screamed in the middle of the road. The people around her only gave a glance and mostly ignored her as she took a deep breath. I'm hungry, she said with a pout. As an affirmative her stomach growled. Suddenly her ultra-super nose peeked up a unique scent. As she followed it she reached a stall selling buns. Curiosity got a grasp on her. Hello, anyone here? She called out. Yes. I'm coming. A girl with the same height as her came out from a room beside the stall. Milim's eyes quickly identified that in front of her was not a normal person, but a goddess. Dear customer, what flavor do you want? The goddess asked. Flavor. Then she noticed something inside the buns. Drool ran through her mouth as the smell of the buns entered her nose. What should she do? After thinking for a few minutes she shook her hand. No, I don't have money. And Rimuru has told me that taking food without paying is bad. Yes. She did it. She could feel a sense of achievement for restraining herself. Should be included in top 10 achievements of Milim Nava. The black-haired goddess looked at her in amusement. The words she said were honest, but, then why are you drooling? Milim embarrassingly wiped her face. I am not drooling. I am absolutely not drooling, she said with a red face. The goddess giggled. No, I am pretty sure you are. You don't know how hard it is to reject sweets. Yes, I would rather fight 100 heroes than reject sweets, Milim said in a dramatic tone. The goddess looked at Milim and her lips moved upwards. She took a bun. This is our specialty double-side creamed Jagamaru-kun here. Milim looked at Jagamaru-kun as if enraptured. I don't have any money. Are you sure? You can pay me later when the person you mentioned comes to get you. The goddess smiled at her. With getting permission, Milim didn't wait for another moment. She quickly took a bite. Delicious, Milim exclaimed. So what is your name? The goddess asked. Milim looked at the goddess still biting the Jagamaru-kun. It's Milim Nava. Do you have a familia? No, I have a bestie. What? Quote. What? Quote. I asked. Do you belong to any familia of a goddess? Hestia cleared the misunderstanding. Milim shook her head. The goddess fidgeted awkwardly. Well, if you wish, you can come into my familia, the Hestia familia. Milim looked at the goddess. If I come, will I get more of this bun? Hestia aggressively took Milim's hand. Yes. You'll get it. I don't own this shop, but I will bring you here 3 times a day. Quote. Oh, then I'll definitely come. Quote. Hestia was very happy. It was all going smoothly now. She can have a new member in her familia besides Belle. If she takes a look at her new recruit, she is definitely cute, with pink hair, a cute face and pretty eyes, but she seems to be childish, a perfect little sister for Belle. Definitely a cute sister. Yes, definitely a sister. Wait a moment here, I will take you to my home. Well, then I should call my bestie. Hestia was going to ask who was her bestie was, but before that. Oi kid. Give me all the money you got. A rude voice interjected their conversation. Hestia looked to see a fat guy looking at her. He had a decent armor set and he also had 3 lackeys with him. Seems like they thought Milim would be an easy target for them. And they seem to be of the Soma familia. Hestia decided to interfere. She has to protect her new recruit. Hey, aren't you ashamed to pick on a girl in broad daylight? I will report it to the guild, you know. Hestia spoke. She thought they would listen to her. Shut up, lowly. Mind your own business. The fat guy spat. Hey, Lewis. She's a goddess. One of the guys warned his companion. Seems like few of them didn't like this either. Who cares? You guys want a drink today, don't you? The question by him made the rest of them silent. Moreover, this goddess doesn't have a familia. There is not much she can do. The fat guy took a hold of Milim's hand. Oh, well, even if you don't have any money, I know a good way to make it. Are you interested? Why don't we make a deal? But before he can finish what he was saying, he felt his chin connect with something hard, and that was the last thing he remembered. Hestia watched as the Lewis guy flew away. She looked at where he was standing a moment before, and there stood Milim. I was being nice because Rimuru told me. But you guys seem to have a death wish. She cracked her knuckles. That started one-sided street fight until the Ganesha familia showed up. Rimuru Pav. So that happened. Milim explained it to me in a cheerful tone. Well, that makes sense, but didn't I tell you not to make a scene? What if the authorities start looking for us now? The smile in her face suddenly flashed with anxiety, a tell that Milim shows when she is about to lie. You don't have to worry. I spoke with the Ganesha kids. I told them that she was protecting me. Hestia came with another plate of buns. It's Jagamaru-kun. Yes, I understand. By the way, our seating arrangement is me sitting opposite to Milim, Hestia on my right, and Chloe standing behind me leaning back against the wall. Veldora is on the couch while we were on the floor sitting around a table in the center. Well, thank you then. I appreciate what you did for my friend and sorry for the trouble. I try to be as polite as I can be. But do you mind if I ask you a question? Hestia said to me. Sure. Who are you? The question made us all freeze in our position. The atmosphere changed in the room except for Milim, who was still gobbling up her food. I already told you, didn't I? We are travelers. Lies. She slammed a paper on the desk. I carefully picked it up from the table and looked at it. Lev. 98969 telephone. 98969. STRGTH. 78843. Enance. A812. Dexterity. AGT. S9296. Mamak. B767. Abnormal recessal. What? Is this some kind of code? I couldn't tell, but there are many words missing here and there. I tried to give Milim-chan a fauna in the meantime while you were arriving. She did say it wasn't gonna work on her, but I thought it was impossible. Hestia looked at Milim, who was now listening to us. Veldora was glancing at us with a piqued interest. But it did end up in failure. My fauna got rejected by her. Oh well, Milim does have absurd amounts of power. Does it have anything to do this though? Maybe it's because we are from a world with a different skill system. This world's skill system might not mix well with ours. Okay, but I thought we were hiding all of our power. I appraised Milim and she gave me a glance. Well, I knew that she would figure out if someone was appraising her. Hestia was looking at me expecting me to say something, but she can't read my emotions because of my mask. But as expected, Milim has hid her power perfectly. Then why? It's because fauna is the appraisal the soul. Okay. Can you give me a proper explanation that I can understand? It's equal to say we can hide from sunlight but we cannot hide the sun itself. Our power is slightly similar. We can camouflage the aura around us and make us seem like normal people, but no matter what we do, we cannot hide our souls. And this fauna seems to appraise our souls directly instead of aura or power generated by the soul, like Master's appraisal does. Fauna reflects our souls, like a mirror. Sir's words came to my mind. I think I understand what Seal is saying. So is there nothing we can do to hide it? No, we cannot. Hiding the souls means hiding one's own existence. One way we could make it was being similar to a human's souls. But Master is a mutation of human, demon and a true dragon soul. Veldora is a true dragon, Milim is Dragona demon fusion and Chloe's soul is where hero eggs hatched 2 times repeatedly. The difference between these souls and human souls are massive, so that is not something we can do, and the other way is for me to recreate Master's soul. I can pull off that, but meddling with the other 3 souls would be hard and dangerous given the nature of their soul. So I wouldn't recommend it. In the end we were caught, huh? Should have thought about this earlier. I gave Hestia a glance. Okay, I think I should be honest. Sometimes being honest is the best way to solve problems. I am the Demon Lord Rimuru Tempest, ruler of the Jura Tempest Federation. There was no need to give out my full name and my title, still I was being honest here. Suddenly the room went still. A brief silence, then a sudden surge of power. Chloe and Milim suddenly jumped back from where they were sitting because they were closer to the danger. Hestia rose from where she was sitting. Her hair was floating and she was covered in an aura I hadn't seen before. Demon Lord, you say? She spoke with such an intimidating voice that I am sure any normal human would run away with their tail between their legs. But we are not normal humans. I raised from my seat, removing my mask. I released my haka, standing toe-to-toe with Hestia. Yes, a pleasure to meet you, Lady Hestia. I was being polite, yet my voice was a little cocky. Well, I have to be cocky. That was the lesson Gazel taught me. Never be polite to someone who wants to push you around. Hestia's eyes widened. She sat back and her aura became weak until it vanished. I raised my eyebrows at the development. I cannot use my power in the lower world. What you saw was all I got. She sighed. I nodded at her, showing my understanding, as I sat across from her, putting my mask on the table. So what do you want? She asked. Don't tell me a demon lord visited Orario to have fun, she said jokingly. She is being cooperative. She did say that she couldn't do any more than that, so being cooperative is probably the best way out of this. I scratched my head. Well, we're just here on a whim. Quote. Quote. Yeah, actually I found this world a few days ago. So I thought I would give it a visit. And I am here because of Milim. I pointed at the girl who again started to eat sweets. World. You mean you are not from this world? I nodded an affirmative. That's not possible. The celestial dragon guards the realm between the worlds, she exclaimed in a disbelief. Celestial dragon. Did she mean Veldanava? Could you tell me more about this celestial dragon? Well, it's not like I know anything. I heard it from an old god that eons ago the gods met a being with great power. I don't know much details, but both old gods and the being made a deal not to interfere with each other along with a bunch of other things, and it's said that a celestial dragon guards the realm outside this world. Well, we did come from another world. As I said, I am Demon Lord along with her. Pointing at Milim, that guy. I pointed at Veldora, as the storm dragon Veldora, possibly the sibling of the celestial dragon you mentioned if my assumption is correct. And she is the hero of our world, Chloe Aubert. Hestia gave Chloe a look. So you are a titled hero, huh? Is there something wrong? Chloe asked. Hestia smiled at her. No, it's just that I saw you helping that old lady this afternoon. I was a little interested in you since then, but thank you for that. I've known that old lady a long time. Well, it's nothing. But I am thankful that you saved one of my companions. Chloe politely brushed off the compliment with another compliment. Oi, I was not being saved, you know. If she didn't stop me I would have kicked their asses by now, Milim complained. Hestia smiled warily. That would have been troublesome. Beating the children of Soma is one thing and beating Ganesha children is another. He has one of the biggest familia in Orario. They're basically the police force here. So masked guys are Ganesha familia, having allies with his familia might be useful. Milim cracked her knuckles. Then next time I'll really have to beat those guys. Things were going smoothly until somehow the seriousness in the room vanished until another presence entered the room. With great speed Chloe jumped at the newcomer, twisting his arm. Drop your weapon. She said she has totally overwhelmed and pinned down her opponent. I looked at the intruder and realized who it was. Bell-kun. Me and Hestia said the name in same time. He looked at us. Goddess and Rimuru-san. Bell-pov. I watched as Rimuru and Veldora left. I don't know why, but I felt a little down. After a few minutes I stood up ready to leave. I looked at Sir who was accompanying me, or more like using me as a means to skip the work. I am leaving Sir-san. Oh my. I never realized that it was this late. Mia might take my head for this. She said with a small giggle, which I felt that it is absolutely cute. As that's so. She looked at me. Maybe she realized I sounded a little dull. Sir always knew what was happening with me. She knew when I was sad or angry, even though we'd only known each other for less than half a month. I don't know if I should be scared or happy about this. He said that he would be here in Orario, you know. It's not like he said goodbye forever. I looked at her. Yes, I know. Maybe I'll see him again tomorrow. I have to cheer up even if it is just for show. See you tomorrow, Sir-san. I ran outside the tavern. I walked home. It was way past evening. I should tell the goddess about Rimuru too. I ran at full speed to church. It was a bit after sundown when I finally got home. But there was no usual reply from the goddess this time. I walked to the room where I could hear other people's voices from inside. Usually we don't have any guests. The idea of getting robbed by bandits did pass through my head. I took my knife just to be safe, but as soon as I reached the door, slowly opening the door, I felt a chill from behind. I swung my knife, which was stopped by delicate arms. I don't even know what happened before I realized I was on the ground having my arm twisted behind me. I tried to get away but couldn't make me realize my assailant was much stronger than me. Bell-kun. I heard two voices, recognizing them both. Goddess and Rimuru-san. What are you doing here? Rimuru asked me. This my home. But what are you doing here? Wait, you guys know each other? Goddess interrupted us. Is it just me or does it seem like she's troubled? Rimuru raised his hand. No, I just met him on the way. He's a good kid. He was a lot of help. No, at the end I couldn't even show you the dungeon as I promised, and you said you had a problem to deal with. Rimuru waved his hand. Oh, don't worry about that. It ended up as a misunderstanding. We were just clearing the misunderstanding now. Moreover, how much longer will you be staying on the ground? Then only I noticed I was still lying on the ground. The one who pinned me down had already released me. I stood up in embarrassment, and when I got a good look around the room, there seemed to be more people in here than I thought. Oh, I didn't introduce you guys. Maybe seeing me looking at them, Rimuru-san took the initiative and pointed at me. Guys, this is Cranel. Veldora and I met him today. Then he pointed at a beautiful black-haired lady. This is Chloe. She was my student and now a member of this party, or whatever you want to call it, and was also the one who took the liberty to subdue you. She took me. Well, it's not like I am a professional or anything, but a cute lady took me out that easily. Wait, did he say she was his student? Then how old exactly is Rimuru-san? Were you trained in sword skills? I tried to start a conversation. Well, even if I couldn't see her, I could tell her that her movements are very smooth and accurate. She looked at me and gave me a gentle smile. Yes, I had someone teaching me sword skills. Moving on. As you already know, Veldora. You kid, we meet again. Veldora smirked at me, which I greeted with a nod. And this one is the problem I was talking about earlier. Her name is Milim. He pointed at a girl with bright pink hair. She might be a little younger than me. She came up to me leaning forward as if to get a better look at me. Oh, who aren't you interesting? She said in a cheerful tone. I can see through you. She can do what now? Before I say anything, Rimuru-san smacked her head. Give the kid a little space. Which startled me. Ow, ow, ow. Why did you do that? You're so cruel to me. She said cutely, rubbing her head with both of her hands, pouting. But now I know all of Rimuru companions, so I thought greeting them would be proper manners. It's a pleasure meeting you all. I don't know much about you except what Rimuru-san told me. But I hope I get to know you all better. The same goes for us too. Chloe said to me. And she used my first name. So we're already dropping the formalities. After the introductions, we all settled down in the hall chatting happily. I told them about my old life living with my grandfather, and they told me that what happened after they left the tavern. Turns out Milim entered a squabble with some of the adventurers and Goddess helped her. So what are you gonna do next after this? I asked, which brought in another silence. All three of the people present except Milim. She was busy eating. Rimuru paused. So what are you gonna do next after this? Belle asked. I only realized then that I haven't got any idea. I came to this world just for fun. I don't have any goals I have to achieve. So then what should I do next? We are gonna join this familia. Joining a familia, are you a IDI? Wait, who the fuck said that? Well, I know who said that. All four of us looked at the pink-haired girl who was still talking while chewing her food. What the hell are you saying, Milim? She looked at me like I was saying something stupid. Well, isn't that why she brought me here, to join her familia? I looked at Hestia, whose eyes locked onto me. From her expression I knew that she doesn't know what to do. Well, me neither. It was just a few minutes ago when she and I went Super Saiyan mode. She might be cooperative with me now, but it's just for her to get me out. And she wasn't happy that I was acquainted with Belle. And I was just planning to erase her memory, but it seems like I have more memories to erase. Really, you are going to join our familia? Belle exclaimed, practically jumping at me. I put my hands in front of me to put some distance. No, the thing is, Milim must be confusing familia with something to do with Jarmakuru-kun. We're not really going to join. Oh, Rimuru, it not Jarmakuru-kun. It's Jagamaru-kun. You shut up, Veldora. Do you think this is the time to worry about that? The cheerful attitude of Belle suddenly took a U-turn to a disappointed Belle wearing a disappointed Belle smile. Oh. Belle's voice sounded hollow. I'm sorry, I was hasty. I jumped to conclusions. He sighed, then bowed. I was just happy when I heard you were joining our familia that I am really sorry. I was a little startled by this. What's up with this kicked puppy that suddenly appeared? I can't just accept his apology and get it over with. I am sure Hestia also wants that to happen. But I don't know why I'm having a hard time rejecting this kid. Damn you, Milim, you put me in a tough position again, I sighed. Seal, I want you to check a few things for me. Understood. Now, with that matter dealt with, I look at Belle, who still has his head hung. Let me think about it. After all, it's one of our own who suggested it, if we all come to an agreement and if your goddesses will. The sad puppy turned back into a cheerful Belle. Goddess will certainly agree. Isn't that right, Goddess Hestia? I put a hand across his mouth, stopping him from finishing what he was saying. That's no good, Belle. That is something your goddess has to decide. I gave her a meaningful glance and left the room with the others in tow. We all gathered outside and I nodded in satisfaction. Now that we are all here, let's decide Milim's punishment. Any objections? Veldora shook his head. I'll do as Sensei says. Yeah, I should be punished. Wait, go back. Why am I getting punished? Milim blurted out. Why, you ask? First of all, I said to collect information, and second, to stay away from gods. Did you follow any of the instructions I gave? Not only that, but accepting a proposition to join her familia just like that. Do you even know what a familia is? Milim looked down like a little child. Her eyes teary and cheeks puffing like a balloon. I don't know about the familia. But I wanted to join her, you know. It was one of those things I must do. I swear my gut was telling me to. Cute. She was cute. But I have to be strict with her. Come to think of it, Guy once told that Milim might seem and act like a naive kid, but she is the most difficult opponent he had to face when it came to raw power and strategy. She always take decisions that seems to be the most idiotic at first glance, but if you look at a different perspective, the decisions taken by her couldn't make more sense. I glanced at Milim, who was still pouty face. Until now I never gave a deep thought on her decision and what was on her mind. I mostly just went along with her plans, but from today onwards we are besties. I remembered her words the first day we met, and the more I think about it, the more it's making me uncomfortable. That's it, maybe it is time for me to change it. I mean, I have seen many faces of her, from a joyful Milim to an angry Milim, but I didn't have time to think more about those sides of her. And I think even Guy and Ramirez understand Milim more than me. And that makes me a bit jealous. This might be my chance. Then tell me, Milim. Quote, comma, dot. Quote. I mean, I know you have your own reasons. I have obtained many skills throughout the years, but none of them are for reading the mind of a dragonoid demon lord. So if you don't tell me, I won't understand. So tell me what you are thinking. What I am thinking. Yeah, in that way that I can understand you more. Quote. Why would you want to understand me more? Don't you trust me? I sighed, walked up to Milim and gave her a head chop. How did she end up at that conclusion? OWWWOWWWWWWW. I heard her cute squeal when my hand connected with her head. Well, we all know she is just acting like that. Don't say idiotic things, idiot. How did you even end up at that conclusion? I said I want to understand you because by understanding you I can know more about you. More about me. Quote. Can't I? I am your best friend, you know. As unpredictable as you are, I like to get to know you better. I might not put out the words correctly. But I think I might have said something weird because all three of them were in silence. The moment didn't last long as. Woo ha 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 ha. You are right, nothing is above our friendship. As someone turned on a switch, Milim's expression changed, not showing a hint of previous emotion I saw before. But I am telling the truth, you know. It's just my gut feeling that I definitely have to join Hestia. As that's so. I guess it's not that easy, but I do have time. I could take it slowly. I glanced at the other two who were left out of the conversation. For some reason both of their faces looked funny. Even though I said about punishing Milim, my opinion is also to join Hestia if she allows us. Well, didn't I tell you already? I will follow you, sensei. Chloe-chan, your face is looking scary, I said. Seriously, she looks terrifying. I mean, I might know why, because I am not some dense anime protagonist. I know when a girl shows her feelings toward me. Hoo ha 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 ha. I also too agree with you, Rimuru, and I also want to watch that Bell kid, he was interesting. You mean his soul? All the current ones here know what I am saying. Oh, the two. His soul was very see-through. It was very interesting. I want to have a closer look. Came Milim's opinion. Yes, I too am interested in it. Came Chloe's opinion. His soul, huh? Seal, what about those calculations I asked for? It is completed. The results are none. None. Yes, even after analyzing the souls of this world and ours in its entirety. I couldn't find a soul that is similar to Bell Cranel's soul. So he is 1 in a billion guy, huh? And because of this world is an unfamiliar one. I need more data on him to know more about his soul. Looks like Seal is raring to go. So we are all in agreement then. All I have to ask for is the opinion of Hestia. And speaking of devil, or god in this case, Hestia was standing there at the door. I just noticed it has been a long night. Stars were gleaming in the sky with a half moon. So you guys decided what you're gonna do? She asked, which I nodded. Before I tell you my opinion, can I ask you a few questions? Alone. Your companions can go inside. Again I nodded. Wah, no fair, I was the one who said to mhhhhhpmmm. Chloe dragged the whining Milim into the house. Veldora followed, sighing after them, making sure we are alone. Hestia nodded her head in satisfaction. Hestia glanced at me, then walking past me and stood a little distance away from me looking at the sky. Why are you here? Quote. We are here on a whim. You want me to believe a lame reason like that? Didn't the gods come to the lower world for entertainment? You or tell me that is not a lame reason. Anyway, my motive is also something along those lines. She glanced at me but didn't approach the topic further. Guess she was okay with that answer. When I first met Milim and when she agreed to join my Familia, I was happy, but when I saw the level sheet I knew something was wrong. Something big was coming, and you can just call it a god's intuition, but when I saw you I knew that something was already here. Quote. Are you afraid of us? I asked. Afraid of you? No. Afraid of losing something special to me because of you? Yes. Bell is surely loved, I commented. I can tell her feelings towards Bell. Yes, he is the first member of my Familia after all, so I treasure him more than anything. Quote. I looked at her small figure. You still haven't told me what you're gonna do. Quote. She chuckled. Can you blame me? Have you heard an old saying? If you find an enemy that you can't overcome, then the best action is to make him your ally. But you find us hard to trust. I finished it for her, in which she hesitantly nodded. Well, I can't blame her. I told her that I am a demon lord. I wonder what would happen if it was Chloe who met with her rather than me. Is that so? Then want to make a deal. Deal. Quote. Yeah, I give you something in return for taking something. If I have some benefits from you, I don't have a reason to harm you or come in your way. It has mutual advantages, doesn't it? Hestia looked at me. What do you want, my soul? There was a hint of humor in it. But I still do not think that it was a joke. As tempting as it sounds to me. No, I don't need your soul or your body, but I want everything else. Everything else. Quote. Your possessions, your knowledge, connections, influence, everything that I could use to my advantage in this world. I want all of it, and for that I will join under your banner. If I have a god at my side, things might get easier. Hearing it seems like I am basically selling my life to you. She took a deep breath, but that puts me in a situation where I am constantly useful to you. I smiled at her. I was genuinely surprised when she caught on quickly. Well, she is a goddess. And in that way you have some sort of insurance that I will not bring harm to you or the ones close to you. Quote. I held out my hand toward her. In which she looked at my face, then my hand a few times. She was still hesitant. I can see you are still hesitant. Well, I'd be disappointed if you weren't. After all, you are making a deal with a demon lord. So I can give you some time to think. Hestia shook her head in rejection. No, I don't need any more time. She grabbed my hand. I, Goddess Hestia, agree to give you what you need in return, fulfilling my request. And what might that be? I acted perfectly, if I do say so myself. I was trying to sound like an almighty being. Protect Belle. She said. I gave her a look showing my confusion. Is it because of us? Partly yes, but there is one more reason. Belle doesn't know about this, but he possesses a rare skill which will allow him to get stronger at a faster rate than a normal person. Sooner or later people will start to come after him for his skill. He is the only one I have to call my family. I don't want him to be hurt, and I definitely don't want to lose him. Hestia's voice was firm and resolute. That is understandable. Fine, if that is your wish, that as I promised I watch over him. She spread her hands. Then Rimuru Tempest, I welcome you and your companions to my Familia, she said with a smile. On that day and on that night the goddess of the hearth and the great demon lord made a deal which will change the entire history of the Orario. From that day a new era has started, and from that day a new story will be written in the chapter of Oratoria. After sealing the deal, we both walked back into the house, church or storage or basement, whatever you wanna call it. I want to tell you something. Even if you said you want to use my influence or my possessions, I really don't have that much influence on this city. When compared to other big shots in this city, I am basically a no one. Hestia warned me. She was embarrassed, it might have hurt her pride to say that. Well, I could have guessed it by now that Hestia is not the big shot this world has to offer. Don't worry about that, I have a knack to start from small. I waved off her concern. Well, now I am in your Familia, things might change. She gave me a thumbs up and a wink. I am looking forward to see your work, Rimuru-chan. I prefer if you call me Rimuru or add Kun. Before she answered me, an owl landed near her. Rimuru-chan, you can go inside, I'll be right there in a minute. I just told her to not add Chan. Well, jokes aside, I think this might be fun. I feel like I am in a fantasy game where I can raid dungeons and build up my clan level. This world is more like a game than my world. I entered the room. Inside, Veldora, Chloe and Milim were standing there waiting for me. Seeing me, Milim jumped in front of me. So how did it go? Tell me. Tell me. I pat her head. It went the way your gut wanted to go. Great job out there. I answered. Milim beamed at my compliment. Isn't it? Aren't I amazing? Quote. Chloe threw me a glance too. Well, she might have felt left out, so I decided to give her a pat too. Good job, Chloe. You did great too. We both need to have a discussion about the books you said you read. As a response, a small smile decorated her lips and she nodded at me. That was all from her. Is she in a bad mood? Hoo ha ha ha. You can praise me too, Rimuru. Veldora, who was silent until now, spoke up. Oh, okay, you were not too bad yourself, Veldora. Oi, what's with that lame response? You are showing partiality to me, aren't you? I chuckled at his response. Teasing Veldora has become a small habit of mine, I think. I guess Velgrand and Velzard's habits have rubbed off on me. Okay, you did great too. Where is Belle, by the way? Veldora huffed his chest and pointed at the couch in the corner where Belle was sleeping. I walked over to him, kneeled in front of him. He was in deep sleep with a peaceful look on his face like a baby. The kid waited for you for a while, but he fell asleep. he must have had a long day. Veldora filled. As that's so. Hey, Rimuru. What did she say? Come on, tell us. Before that, I have something to say. Hestia interrupted. Hestia glanced at Bell and I. He's asleep. What is it? I asked. Feeling a little uncomfortable from her gaze, I stood up. Even if I said that I welcome you to my Familia, there is a problem. Without the Falna, the guild won't recognize you as a member of the Familia, and I am sure that you need their permission to enter the dungeon or something. Well, that makes sense, and if Hestia can't give us a Falna, then that is a problem, but don't worry about that, we can probably make a fake. We can make some duplicate documents too, nothing will happen as long as they don't catch us, right? The goddess sighed. She took a parchment, and that's the next problem, they already caught you. You guys have been summoned to the guild. Now that was unexpected. I was taken back by the sudden development. The guild already caught up to us. Anyone who behind the guild might be someone I should watch out. Master doesn't need to answer them. Yeah, we could probably fight it out through this, but that might put Hestia and Belle in a tough place, wouldn't it? Chloe looked at me. She might already know what ticked the guild off. Well, she did say that she visited the guild and from there someone from Apollo Familia followed her. Sensei. I knew it. She was worried. I tried to cheer her up. Don't worry about it, Chloe. They probably might know about us the moment we entered the city. But even if I say that, I am sure she is feeling pretty down right now. She opened her mouth but no words came. In the end she just nodded. You guys stay here, I will take care of this, I said. And don't go breaking anything, okay? I warned the usual troublesome duo. I'll come with you. Hestia said there was no reason to reject her, so I didn't reject her. After 15 minutes, Hestia and I were walking in silence. Neither of us were talking, so it was very awkward. Deciding to break the ice, I asked her a question. Why did you decide to come with me? You might get into trouble. Hestia shrugged. Don't worry about it. The letter came in my name, so they already know about me, and if anything happens I will support you according to our deal. I guess Hestia is super serious about the deal. Is that so? Then if things go south, I'll make your safety my priority. She giggled at me. Thanks, but I am sure Oranos is reasonable enough to hear our side. Oranos. Guess he is the guy who runs the guild. We spent the rest of the trip in silence. After a few minutes of walking I could see the guild building. Hey, can I ask you something? Hestia asked me. Yeah, what is it? Are you really a demon lord? I glanced at her. Why the sudden question? Did you not believe me when I said it the first time? She shook her head. No, it's not that. You don't give me the impression of the demon lord. I chuckled. Does Milim give you that impression? She again shook her head. No, when I think of demon lord, I think of cold-blooded killers. You on the other hand are quite opposite. I mean, I can tell you are a powerful entity, but you know. As that's so. Yeah, you strike me as a reasonable guy who talk first and leaves fighting as a last resort. You're right. It's unfortunate that most of the people I've killed never got a chance to talk first. I replied, thinking of the soldiers of Pharmus and Empire. Hestia did not get the meaning of those words at first, but her eyes widened as the words slowly sunk in. Before she could say anything, I suddenly stopped in place, startling her. What happened? I think it's best for you to return back after all. Wait, why? Hestia, who startled by the sudden development, had so many questions, but all it died down when she saw him battle ready. His blue hair flying in wind, the cold yellow eyes gazing at distant. You are leaving now. Last thing she heard was his cold, soul-chilling voice. Then she was enveloped by a strange darkness, and the next second she was in front of the old church. It took some time for her to understand what just happened, but she knew she was transported somehow. Hestia glanced in the direction of the guild. It was unfortunate that most of the people I killed never got a chance to talk. She remembered his words. To say he has taken life so casually without hint of emotion. Well, at least he was being honest about it, she said, trying to soothe herself, thinking everything is gonna be alright.